Yes, so this is quite a, you're right, Lammy, there's lots of words in this, and that's one of the things they'll do with statistic questions. So this is ripped from an old exam, and this flows into 9F.3, our last exercise where we are assessing claims, okay? So not learning any new mathematics as such, rather we're just testing a claim to see if it's true. And exams do this. They're just going to present you with sort of mass information, and your job is to filter through it carefully. Don't read it as fast as you can so you can start the maths. You've got to read it carefully. I think it pays dividends to read things slowly and considerably, just to make sure you understand what it's asking, rather than to race through it and then do some maths wrong and then have to go back and read it again. All right, so it makes sense to read it slowly and understand the question, and even read it twice, okay? So we've got, in the 2004 federal election, 47.4% of voters in South Australia voted for the Liberal Party. A survey is conducted in 2006 to assess whether or not support for the Liberal Party in South Australia has changed since the 2004 federal election. A random sample of 80 South Australian voters were asked whether or not they would vote for the Liberal Party if a federal election were held today. 33 voters out of the 80 said they would. Okay, so reasonably straightforward there with the information we're given. All right, so you can see there's a bit of background information, but that's just text sort of getting in the way, isn't it? So the important parts there are the previous result was 47.4%. We've got a sample size of 80, and we had 33 successes out of 80. Okay, using the sample data, calculate an approximate 95% confidence interval for the proportion of all South Australian voters who would vote for the Liberal Party if a federal election were held today. So this is a proportion confidence interval. So we're in statistics, interval, Z and first proportion, and our input confidence level, 95. We have 33 successes out of 80. We'll put that information in, and we've got our lower boundary. I'm going to round straight away, so it's 3046. I'm rounding to 305. 0.520. Okay, so based off this confidence interval, we're 95% confident that the proportion, the population proportion of voters in South Australia lies between 0.30, so 5, so what's that, 30.5%, and 52%. Okay. Would it be reasonable to claim this survey reveals that support for the Liberal Party in South Australia has fallen since the 2004 election? Explain your answer. All right, so we notice that the 47%, the 0.474, falls within this confidence interval. All right, because it exists within the confidence interval, it means it is not reasonable to claim that support has fallen. Our confidence interval tells us the true proportion could be as high as 52%. It could be that support has risen based off the confidence interval. So all we need to say is no, as 0.474 lies within the confidence interval. Okay, and then we have how large a sample size is required to produce data that would result in approximate 95% confidence interval with width no greater than 0.02. Okay, so here we're using the formula we learned yesterday, 2 times 1.96 on W squared times P times 1 take P. Now, one of the things I said yesterday is if we're not given a value of P, we can assume the worst case scenario, which is P equals 0.5. All right, So that would give us sort of the worst case scenario. That's going to guarantee a sort of width. For this exam question, they're going to accept either. Either you use the 33 on 80 or you use 0.5. Either is going to give you the correct answer. So let's put this in anyway. 2 times 1.96. Our width is 0.02. Turn the page. 0.02 squared. I'll just go with 0.5. Has anyone evaluated it?
I got 9,604.
Thank you. 9,604. Thank you. All right. So that's 9F.3. Maybe I can just say one thing quickly about when we're testing claims. So when we have claims, one of the things we need to be careful of is we don't make definitive statements. Here, the question is, survey reveals that support, this survey reveals that, would it be reasonable to claim this survey reveals that support has fallen? Well, no, based off the claim, not. All right, so one thing I think we need to be careful of, particularly when we're affirming claims, all right? What I said last time we were testing claims is there's not enough evidence to reject the claim, okay? So that's good language to use. There's not enough evidence to reject the claim. Or you can say stuff like, yes, there's enough evidence to support the claim, but it does not guarantee the truth of the claim. That's what they're looking for, because confidence intervals don't prove to us that a claim is true, rather they justify a claim, they provide evidence for it. So it's just about being careful with the language you use, and so being precise and being deliberately doesn't guarantee, okay? If you tack that on the end, you're sort of bound to get the mark. All right, good, let's get stuck into it.